Hello everyone and welcome to this week's card class. This week we are using the Sweet Peas stamp set, which is a really cute stamp set in our new catalog. It has some really funny sentiments with a play on the word pea and then really cute images of the little peas. So I brought along a few of the cards that I've already shared this week to show you. This one I shared on Sunday as part of our Creation Station Design Team Hop. And for this one, I used this cute image with the birthday hat. And this stamp, since I made this card, I could not find this stamp. I really wanted to do another happy birthday card today, but I can't find the stamp. So hopefully it will turn up here someplace. But this is a really cute one. These are the Spotlight on Nature dies, which I think have gone out of stock, but they'll be back. And this is a really great standard set of circle dies that have different designs around the edges, and I really, really like them. And then this card I shared yesterday. So this one I stamped some of those greenery images around the edge. I fussy cut out the little peas, and then these hearts are from our not Full of Life. I think that's the Friends for Life bundle. So those are really fun dies, and we're going to be using the paper from that suite today. So I think this is a really fun stamp set, and I hope you will enjoy it today too. If you are shopping this week, or if you want the card kit for today, so these are 3 cards. I'm giving you a little peek ahead of time. So I do this class every week on Thursdays, and anybody can watch. It's free to watch the class. If you would like a card kit so you can make these cards yourself at home, you get that by shopping with me this week. So to get the card kit, you need to spend more than $40 before tax and shipping. And if you spend more than $50, I double the cards, so you get to make 2 of each. So you'll see I have all of mine sorted into envelopes today. And that's exactly what you get in your card kit. So you're going to need to have your own stamps and ink, and then you can use whatever embellishments and twine you have in your stash, or you can buy the ones that I use today on your order. So when I'm done, I'll put a shopping link in the description, and you can use that if you're interested in getting the card kit. You have from now until Tuesday to shop for this week's card kit. Okay, so here is our first card. The You Make Me Happy. And the other thing I like to do every week in these videos is I like to give away one of each of the cards that I make. So you can enter to win one of those by commenting on the video, liking or sharing the video, and just interacting with me. And then I will draw winners next week to send the cards to, which is so much fun. And if you do share the video, please let me know in the comments, because Facebook does not always tell me that, and I don't want you to miss out on entering for a prize. So, all right, I think we've got all those housekeeping details taken care of. So let's get started on our first card. I have a thick basic white card base here. It's 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm just going to fold it in half. And then I have another piece of basic white here that is 5.25 by 4, and this one I embossed with one of our new embossing folders. It's called the Dashing Designs 3D embossing folder. It's really just a nice background. If you look closely, it has lots of little geometric shapes in it, but I think it makes a really nice background piece. So we're just going to add that on here, onto our card base. And then next, I told you we're going to use that Full of Life Designer Series paper. So this card with the heart die cuts, this paper is part of the same suite as that bundle, and it is full of bright colors. There's a ton of colors in this paper. I picked out some of the patterns that had greens in them today to go along with our peas. So this is one of the patterns, and then on the back, like there's some that are rainbows, which I love. And I forgot to bring my measurements in here. So let's see here. This piece is 3.25 by 4.5, I believe. 4.25. 3.25 by 4.25, it looks like. Nope, 3 by 4.25. I cannot measure. That's why I need to bring my measurements in here. And then I have a piece of white. So this one, let's see, I think is 2.5. I should have brought my measurements in here. 2.5 by 3 3/4, I believe. Okay, so we have our P image here, and we're going to stamp this twice, actually. I'm stamping in Memento black ink. That is the ink you want to use when you're coloring with our Stampin' Blends. And I'm going to stamp this kind of towards the top of my piece here. And then I'm going to stamp it a second time, and you can just do this on any scrap of basic white that you have. If you do get the card kit this week, you'll get a little piece like this to stamp yours on. And then while we have the ink out, I have a little banner here that I cut with the Hearts and Hugs dies. And we're going to stamp the sentiment on that, "You make me happy." So we'll just kind of center that there, like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to color this one, and then we're going to cut it out and add it with dimensional. So if you can kind of see what I did here, this way I didn't have to fussy cut the heart, and I could pop up the peas. So you don't need to color the peas on here, you only need to color the heart. And I am going to use my Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Blends. And we used Stampin' Blends last week, so this is another lesson in using them. You can just use them to color if you want, or you can do a little bit of shading. So I just started with a little bit of dark Flirty Flamingo on that side of the heart, and then we'll just finish with the light. So it's just a tiny bit of shading on that. Now for the peas, I am mainly going to use my Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends. So again, I like to start with the dark, but you can start with the light if you want, and then come back in and add the dark. And I'm just going to do a little bit of dark around the edge here. And I'm just using my pen tip. Can't think of the word. And I'm just going to do a little bit more dark on the top of the boy pea. And then I just went over their facial details with the dark also, just so those stand out a little bit more. And then we'll come in with the light, and I'm going to just use the brush tip so that I can color a little bit faster. And remember, when you go over the part that you did with the dark, that kind of helps the colors to blend. It also adds another layer of color. So I think we did this last week with something we were coloring. And if you add other layers of color around the edge, then it leaves the lightest layer in the middle, and it's kind of like a highlight. So give you a close-up. Oh, and I forgot, on my little girl pea, I was going to add the cheeks. I think we can do it over the... So I did this first, but actually it might work better this way. So this is my dark Flirty Flamingo, and I'm just giving her little cheeks. Isn't that cute? Okay, and then I thought I would do a little bit more. I have colored this just with Granny Apple Green, the stem, but I thought I would do just a little bit of a different color here. So I brought in my shaded spruce, and I'm going to use the light shaded spruce. And this is just a little bit of a darker green. And it's another one of the colors in the Designer Series paper. And I'm going to color along that line that is part of the stamped image, just along the top a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with my dark Granny Apple Green. And you will see these two colors don't necessarily match each other, but watch what happens when I kind of blend them together. And if you color the Granny Apple Green over the shaded spruce, then you'll get kind of a darker color up there. And it just has a little bit of a different tone. So there's our pea pod. And then, oh, you know, I'm going to use that dark granny apple green right here too. A little bit on the stem. Oops. And then fill in with the light here. Okay, now I'm going to use my paper snips. And this is not too hard to fussy cut. I mean, the only thing that would make the stamp set better is if it had coordinating dies, right? So when you are fussy cutting, this one is not too difficult, but it is better if you move the paper instead of the scissors, which sometimes I have a hard time remembering to do, but you'll end up with a smoother cut that way. And you can just kind of go around the edge. Now, the other tip that I have shared before is if you're not sure about the fussy cutting or where to cut, you can use a pencil and draw an outline and then use that as a guide for helping you to cut, and then you can just erase any pencil marks that are left when you're done. So that is a good tip if you have not done a lot of fussy cutting. This one is not too hard to fussy cut, so I think it works just fine. Okay, so now we're going to adhere this with a few dimensionals. And that way we didn't have to cut around that heart. Now, if you notice on this other card that I did fussy cut around the heart too. And that is an option also. But it's kind of fun to pop up the peas. It gives your card a little more dimension. So I'm just going to stack this right on top of what I stamped on here. And then we're going to adhere this to our designer series paper. And I know I'm going to run out of my seal pretty quick because I can see the red in there. I brought a refill, so we'll be okay. All right, so you can decide which end of the designer series paper you want to be on the top. And then before we attach it to our card, I'm going to use some of this Fleur de Flamingo Baker's Twine. This is part of a combo pack. There are 3 colors in it. We're going to use the Balmy Blue also today. And then there's also a Lemon Lolly in there. And I think it's called Baker's Twine Trio or Baker's Twine, oh, I don't know. I don't remember for sure. But it's those 3 colors, and if you search twine, I'm sure you will find it. But I thought the Fleur de Flamingo goes with their the little heart and the little cheeks. And I kind of like the pink and the green. If you could tell from those first 2 cards I showed you, I think that's a fun combination with these peas. I am having trouble tying bows today. Here we go. Trim this off. I am not sure if anyone is joining me live today, but if you are watching the replay, please still say hi. I would love to know that you were here and watching. And remember, I will draw 3 winners from the comments to send our 3 cards to from today too. So, if you have been a winner in the past few weeks, I got all of the cards sent out yesterday. I caught up, so watch your mailbox and they will be in there soon. Okay, we're attaching this layer with some dimensionals. And then I'm also going to add my sentiment banner with a few dimensionals as well. All right, and I kind of tucked that right into the bow there. Make sure that's straight. There we go. All right, and then we're going to finish off with a few of these gems. These are from the Market Suite. They're called Transparent Adhesive Backed Dots. And I thought they were great to go along with the piece because there's 2 different greens in here. I believe this one is Lemon Lime Twist, but Lemon Lime Twist has a lot of same tones as the Granny Apple Green. So it worked pretty well with this. So there is our first card. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think these peas are super cute. Okay, going on to our second card. This one is going to use the Welcome Sweet Pea and that cute little baby pea. And probably one of the most fun patterns in this designer series paper. There's a couple different color schemes of this, and this is in the center of the 6x6 paper, so you can cut it to be in the center or you can cut it to be off to the side like I did for this card. So for this one we have a balmy blue card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and then the piece of designer series paper is 5.25 by 4. So this one I put it down in the corner, so really you can make this go any direction you want. I guess I cut this one differently, so it's going to be spaced a little bit different, but that's okay. And you can see the back of this piece is more of kind of a watercolor wash, so there's more subtle patterns on some of these papers too, which is nice to have the variety. Okay, then I have a piece of shaded spruce, and this one is 2.25 by 3.25, I believe. Yep. And then this one is 2 by 3. So we're going to stamp our little P and our sentiment on here, and I'm going to use my Memento Black again. So we'll stamp the little P up at the top. And then our greeting down here. So I was thinking of a baby boy card for this with the blues and the greens, but if you chose a different pattern of the paper or a different designer series paper that was more girl colors, then it could be for a girl. Okay, so for this one I am going to start with my shaded spruce, and I'm going to use the dark. And I'm just going to follow the lines that are in the stamped image, kind of along here where it would be a little darker. And like I said last week, if you're not sure where it would be a little darker, then you can do one of two things. You can make it up, which is kind of what I just did there, or you can look at what somebody else has done and copy their work. Okay, then I'm coming in with my light shaded spruce, and I'm just going to finish filling in the pea pod. And then we'll get all of these little leafy things around here. Mostly, I think the Granny Apple Green is a good pea color. I don't know about you. We grow snow peas, and I don't think I've ever seen them this dark color. They're closer to Granny Apple Green, but I think the shaded spruce looks kind of nice also. Okay, and then for the actual pea, I'm going to use my light Granny Apple Green. And it's okay if you overlap the edges a little bit. You're just going into more green there. But I'm going to do kind of what I did before and just go around the edge some more, adding more layers of color. And then you get that little highlight in the middle because you didn't add as many layers there. Oh, and then one more thing. I'm going to use my tip end and just trace over the word P. I saw another demonstrator, Heidi Collins, do that on several of her cards, and I thought that was a cute way to highlight that in the sentiment. So there we go. We're going to adhere that to our shaded spruce. So far I haven't ran out. We'll see. And you know what? I don't know if I cut this exactly the same. Maybe I did. I'm just not as good at layering it on right now. Okay, it didn't look, maybe I just didn't do it even. We'll attach this layer with dimensionals. And I'm going to put that right over that center spot there. And then I'm going to use the Balmy Blue twine from the same twine pack. And I want to do a double bow. So I'm going to get about the amount that I would like to tie a bow. Fold it over and double it. And then I cut it in half. And now I have two pieces that are the same length, so I can tie that double bow. like that. And then I'm going to add that to the bottom of our P with a glue dot. And then we'll trim the ends. So there's that. Apparently I have used, you know what, I use these scissors sometimes to open boxes and things, which I should not do because then they get sticky and they don't cut the ribbon and twine as nicely. Okay, and then you can kind of arrange your bow how you want it. And then we're going to finish off with a few of our dots, and this time I'm going to use the ones that are more of the clear color. And in case you were wondering, I misplaced my take your pick tool last week. I found it because I cleaned off my whole counter to try and find that happy birthday stamp, and I had no luck with that, but I did succeed in finding the take your pick tool. And if you are wondering, no, I did not replace this sticky part yet, which I probably still need to do, but it works okay. So there we go. There is our second card. Also super cute, right? I think anything with these P's is cute. Okay, now my plan for the third card was to use that happy birthday stamp, but since I could not find it anywhere, I went with a Hello Grumpy. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure who would take a card like this very well if they were actually grumpy and you gave them a card that said Hello Grumpy. But it is cute and funny, and maybe you have the type of person in your life that would appreciate that. I can think of, like, you know, my husband sometimes gets grumpy. He would probably be very offended if I gave him a card that said Hello Grumpy. So, you know, I don't know, but it's cute and we're going to go with it. So for this one, I have a soft seafoam card base, 5.5 by 8.5 again. And then I have a second piece of soft seafoam. I'm just going to measure this because I didn't bring my measurements in here again. So this one is 4 by 3 3/4. Now that I say that, I remember. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping, soft seafoam on the soft seafoam cardstock. And we are going to use the larger greenery image in the stamp set, and I'm just going to do one in each opposite corner like that. So it's just a very subtle thing in the background. Actually, I really like how this card turned out, so even though I was not planning to use the grumpy sentiment, I do like the card. And this layout, I kind of started off being inspired by a card in the catalog. So if you are looking for inspiration, that is a great place to go. I just turned to the page that had the stamp set, and there was a cute card on there. Because I wasn't using the exact same P stamp or sentiment as they did, I rearranged a little bit, but the main layout is the same. And it was a great place to find inspiration. Okay, so this one you just want to make sure it's centered on the sides and then on the top and the bottom. And you're going to have more space on the sides than on the top and the bottom for this piece. Okay, then I have another piece of that Designer Series paper, the Full of Life paper. And this piece has just a bunch of different colored squares. So this one I didn't really measure. I just cut the squares. So it's 6 squares long. It was about 3/4 inch by, oh, what did I measure? 4.5 maybe? Yeah, I think it was about 4.5, but it wasn't exact. So if you are recreating this with your own supplies, it's 6 squares long. And you can just use your trimmer to do that. And so I have a little slightly different color scheme with this one because it was a different row of squares, but you can kind of be creative and use different colors if you want. Okay, and then I have 2 die cut pieces here. So this white one is cut with our Nested Essentials dies, and this is a balmy blue piece that is cut with our Stylish Shape dies. So the balmy blue was in this strip, and that's where I pulled that from, and I thought blue and green was a cute combination. I think this will still work because it's kind of like the missing color in that rainbow strip. Okay, so we have our Hello Grumpy sentiment here. And please do tell me in the comments if you have someone in your life who would actually appreciate a card that said Hello Grumpy. I was like, what could I add to this to make it not so rude? I don't know. Maybe if you, would it be even ruder to use your letter dies and say cheer up or something like that? I don't know. I just left it at this, but if you have thoughts for me, please share them. Okay, this one I used our Granny Apple Green again. So I'm going to start with my dark. And I just did a little bit around this side of the dark. And then again, I highlighted his facial features. And then I'm going to fill in with the light Granny Apple Green. I don't know how anyone could be mad about a card that is so cute though, so maybe they would stop being grumpy if they received this card. Maybe that's the point. Okay, we're going to pop this layer up with some dimensionals. If you notice, I'm using the edges of my dimensionals. Never let those go to waste. And I want to leave room so that I'm not covering up this strip with my sentiment. And I also want to be able to see some of that greenery peeking out behind. Now for this one, I'm going to overlap a little bit. So I'm going to put seal on this side and a dimensional on this side. And this is the last bit of seal I have to use, so maybe I won't actually run out. Let's see here. There we go. I thought for sure I would run out while I was doing this video, but I didn't. Okay, so there is our sentiment. I did not put any twine on this card, but if you wanted to, some of that balmy blue twine might look nice behind there. And then these are garden green gems. You could use the Granny Apple Green ones again, or the clear ones. Maybe I'll use the clear ones this time. And we'll just add a few of those. It's kind of a slightly different color scheme with the different colors in that strip of squares. And I can tell my sticky needs to be changed because it'll pick up the small ones, but the big ones are a little bit harder. Oh, there we go. So there we go. All right. Which version do you like better? Do you like the blues and greens, or do you like the rainbow? I don't know. I'm going to stick with the blues and greens, but I also like how this one turned out. So, all right, let's bring all three cards back in here. Here are the three cards we made today. Let me know which one was your favorite today. I don't know. I think the grumpy one might actually be my favorite, although I don't know who I would send it to. I kind of like how that one turned out the best. So I want to know your opinion, which one you liked the best. And remember, if you would like the card kit for these three cards, use the shopping link in the description of the video and shop between now and Tuesday. You'll need to spend more than $40 to get the card kit. And then if you spend over $50, I will double the cards. So thank you so much for watching. If you're watching live or if you're watching later, I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed today's cards. And next week, I should be here at my regular time at 12 noon. So I will see you then. Bye.